What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. We're going to do another episode of the Tuttle Talks. And I want to talk just a little bit about kind of what's going on in our fishing industry of crappie tournament fishing. And, there's a lot of ups and downs, and there's a lot of, there's actually a lot of tournaments to choose from. But the one thing that you always see that everybody's talking about is the money. What kind of money are we going to fish for, and what kind of what's the rules, and are they going to allow this? Are they going to allow that? And one of the things that that draws me to a tournament. So, what makes a tournament that Matt Tuttle wants to fish? And a tournament that Matt Tuttle wants to fish is one that it's governed by the state rules that we're in. And if you want to troll, you want a long line, you want to use forward-facing sonar, you want to cast, you want to cork and jig, whatever, then you can do it. And the best comes out on top. And I mean, if long line trolling gets it done, then it gets it done. But I see so many guys want all these rules, and you can fish this day and use this tool, and come on, guys. Straight up, straight down. Let's just put it whatever the state rules is, and let's go fishing. You get beat, guess what? You go out and you practice and you work even harder. I want to tell you something. Back in the late 90s, early 2000s, and I was learning to use 2D sonar, and I got pretty good at it, and was winning a lot of tournaments and doing really well. And then I get up to in my 40s, and this forward-facing sonar completely changed the game. So now I'm relearning the fish, and I've had 35 years of doing it, when it's trolling or long lining, corking a jig, and what have you, and that's what everybody did. But now, a little bit of technology has changed everything, and you either learn to adapt. I'm telling you, I was around when color units came out, where it went from the black and gray screen to where you had color, and then it went to GPS. And I remember when it went to GPS, everybody lost their minds, because you didn't have to triangulate off this house, off this bridge, and this tree, and this kind of thing. And but we adapted, and now GPS not only helps us keep us on this fish, but it's all are on our spots, but it also keeps us safe. It's a safety aspect, and and then along comes side imaging and down imaging, and oh my gosh, we're going to ruin the sport. Well, when side imaging and down imaging came out, I mean, we're talking now almost 15 years ago. And it's a tool that I use all the time. I use side imaging every single time I go out fishing, and especially on a new lake, to go try to learn the lake. It's a huge tool. And then along came forward-facing sonar. And, I don't call me because I'm old or whatever, but it's just another tool that we have to learn how to use, and it'll become an also ran to everybody else, that has it. So, the bottom line, guys, is, look, it's if we're changing rules to give you an advantage to try to catch up and not put the work in, it's not worth it. Where's our work ethic at? Where's our hard work ethic at? If you get tired of getting beat, then go practice. Go work harder. Go sacrifice. When I had little children, when my children were, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years old, most of my time was with them. And that's something that's a priority. It should be a priority in your life. But if you are getting beat by those guys that don't have those priorities, or those priorities grew up and they don't have them anymore, or they don't have kids at all. And, these people are in their 20s and don't have kids, they're not married. And you want to handicap them so you still have an opportunity to go win $100. It's not the way it is. You want to beat the best, you got to practice to be the best. And that's the end of the game. That's it. That's it. Work hard, put in your time, and you know what? Every time I get beat, I get motivated. I get motivated every time I get beat because I have to go learn something else, or I got to go practice to be better at something, what have you. This year was pretty trying, but the moment I came back home on my home legs, I cashed checks. So I'm like, okay, so great. I'm great on my home legs. I say great. I'm competitive on my home legs, but when I travel out of the state, I've never seen these lakes, and these lakes are 10 times the size of the lakes I fish. That's not the guys that call those lakes their home lakes their fault. I went and threw my money into the pot of gold there to go fish for, and I can't look at the tournament director and go, you need to change the rules so I get a ribbon or I get $100. Well, listen, it's not how it works. Go work hard for your sponsors. Go work hard for yourself. Go put the time in on the water. When it's raining outside, go hook your boat up and go fishing. Put your raincoat on and go fishing. When the wind's blowing 30 miles an hour, go put your boat in the water and go fishing. Learn how to run those rough waves. It's 104 degrees outside. Take a couple bottles of water with you and go fishing. Go put your time in on the water. Don't sit around and make excuses or make rules that are going to accommodate your deficiencies. So again, I played sports and we got beat. Our coach said, how'd that feel? Well, nobody likes to get beat. So you go try to work harder so you don't get beat all the time. So, okay, let me bring it down a notch. Let me back that off. I get pretty passionate about that when lazy people want what hardworking people get. I struggle with that. And I say lazy. Let's talk about lazy. Just not willing to go out into the elements and practice and fish. That's where I'm looking at lazy. Not lazy at you're lazy at your job or you're lazy at home. I'm talking about, I'll have to wait till the sun comes out, take my boat out and go fishing. That's what I'm talking about. Oh, I don't want to put a bunch of hours on my motor. Then you expect rules and everything else to be changed to accommodate what you don't want to do. That's what I'm talking about. So let's just make that clear that Matt Tuttle's not calling people lazy at their work or whatever they do, but the effort and the amount of time that you're willing to put in, if you're not willing to put in the time, then you expect the results you get. Because that's just the way it is. But so let's talk about how we do that. So, I'm going to fish the Crappie Masters Team Trail in 2024. The first tournament of the year is in Lake Talquin, Florida. And so I'm going to go do a whole bunch of lake map study. I'm going to do a whole bunch of all that kind of stuff, that everybody else does. And in the meantime, I'm going to be taking my boat to lakes and I'm going to be working on my forward-facing sonar techniques. I'm going to be working on, that's a sheephead, or hey, that's a crappie, hey, that's a whatever. And then when they don't bite, how do I make them bite, and all that kind of thing. And how do I go find the 7 biggest fish that live in that lake? That's what I'm going to work on. And that's what I've been working on since the off season. And so I'm out about 5 to 6 days a week fishing. And so I'm at a place that I retired, not retired, but I quit my job, and all I do is I guide and I fish tournaments. So, I put myself in a position that I'm going to fish just about every day to continue to work on what I want to achieve in tournament fishing. So, this past year I fished the Elite Series and I finished dead last, and I'm okay with that in one part. So there's a lot of parts I'm not okay with it. So I set a lot of goals, and I fished by myself. And so that meant putting the boat in and out of the water by myself, which I do all the time for guiding and such. Wasn't a big deal. And then fishing, 12 to 15 hour days by myself and rigging all my tackle and paying all the entry fees and paying all the gas and paying everything it does. And, I spent about $25,000 this past year and finished dead last. So my goal going into the next year, of course, they don't have the Elite Series for 2024. So going into I put myself now into the tournament circuit that's going to pay the best. And that only makes sense to me. So I'm not going to go travel across the country, pay $350 entry fee, and if I win, I get $1,000. And now, it's my fault I live in Ohio, and I'm going to be fixing that here in a couple of years, and I'm not going to live in Ohio anymore. And I'm going to live in the Midwest part of the United States so I can practice on those lakes. See, you see what I'm doing? I'm putting myself in position to be able to compete and be able to get familiar with those kinds of bodies of water and all that kind of stuff. So I'm not going to have any more excuses. I've got a 14-hour drive, or I got a 20-hour drive. I'm a competitor. I love to compete. And one of the things is I started tournament fishing in 1992. And some of you that watch this video weren't even born in 92. But, I started tournament fishing in 1992 when I was a real young man, just teenager. And I'm 47 now. And this past year on the Elite Series, like my first year, like I just started. And that was hard to swallow because, I just getting my butt kicked. And every time I was driving home, man, it just started a fire, man. I'm like, I'm gonna keep grinding. And I'm gonna keep grinding for my sponsors. I'm gonna keep grinding for my family. I'm gonna keep grinding for me. And we're just going to keep going. And, I've had a few people say, Matt, not to me directly. You know how that works. Say, Matt has no business being on the Elite Series. Matt has no business out there. You don't know how to run live scope. You don't know how to do this. You don't know how to do that. I'm out here. Where you at? Now, I could keep that attitude, but I don't. I'm just saying, I'm doing this for me, and I don't really care what anybody else says. And, but what I have to do is put myself in position to be successful. And so there were some goals I met last year. And some of those goals was, hey, I competed a whole season by myself. That's cool. And that worked out. Had a lot of adversity with my boat trailer, flat tires, all that stuff. We got through it. Some goals met there. I have some of the best tackle from some of the best companies out there. I got some of the best sponsors that I could ever ask for, and they support me. They trust me to represent them, and that's pretty cool. And the one thing I'm also going to be is I want to this last part of this video. I'm going to talk about positivity and crappie fishing. Why do we got to be so angry and mean and negative towards anything and everything out there in the world of tournament fishing? You know what? There's some tournament circuits I won't fish because the money don't make sense, but it doesn't mean I'm going to bash that tournament circuit. It doesn't make sense for me, but maybe some locals that don't have to travel as far as I would have to travel, it would make sense for them. I got a couple of guys that want to fish tournaments, but they really can't afford to, the big, traveling and travel across the country. And I said, dude, man, there's club tournaments. There's local clubs. Do what makes sense for you, but you don't have to bash everything else out there. If you got time to bash stuff, that was time you should have been fishing on the water, man. You know what I'm saying? And my mama taught me this: sweep your own back porch before you start sweeping everybody else's back porch. My mom was a pretty smart old lady. God gave us the gift to be able to just go outside, be in the water. Our United States military protects us and keeps us safe, so we can go do whatever we want. I can go fishing Monday through Sunday if I want to, and I can go do that in this free country. And we should be thankful for that. We should be thankful that God gave us a day that we woke up and we get to spend another day, and another day with our families, another day with loved ones, another day that I can hook up my boat and go fishing. We should just be thankful. We just had Thanksgiving a couple of days ago. We should be thankful that we get to be out on the water. And again, I always say it, but tournament fishing is like scrolling through Facebook. You don't like what you're reading, keep scrolling. You don't like what they're doing in that tournament circuit, keep scrolling. Go find you a tournament circuit, or go start you a tournament circuit. Well, go start you a tournament circuit, see how much little work it is. You go ask these tournament directors all these circuits that we got right now, and you ask them how many hours a week they put in, and it'd blow your mind. So instead of being critical, why don't we be supportive? Why don't we be supportive of the people trying to put these tournaments on? Again, I've got local tournaments that I don't fish because I don't like what they do. But I don't blast them on Facebook. I don't blast them on Instagram. I don't blast what? I just don't fish. So it's that simple. But we get behind the keyboard and we become keyboard warriors and we want to talk all this big stuff, but we're not willing to sacrifice, put into it what it takes to make a successful tournament circuit. So just be professional. You know, everybody says, what's wrong with the sport of crappie fishing? What's wrong with this? What's wrong with that? Get you a long lesson in professionalism. If everybody works as hard on professionalism as they do as being negative and cutting people down, you would see the sport of crappie fishing grow. And I think it is growing. Even you know, I want to tell you something. You know, there's tournament circuits been out there for a really long time, and you can go make or little as much money as you want to go make. But you know, the point of this Tuttle Talk is, let's be professional. Let's be kind. Let's be supportive to one another. And this can come in effect in your family. You know, if you're one of those mean dads, you know, why don't you smile every now and again and tell your kid how great they're doing? You know, just be positive. Encompass your family, encompass the people in fishing. You know, I'm out there in a 21.5 foot rig and somebody's out there in a 14-foot aluminum John boat. I'm stopping and talking to them and talking about how great or how tough the bite is and all whatever, because I'm going to tell you something. I had 6 aluminum boats before I bought my first fiberglass boat. And it just goes by what your budget is and all that kind of thing. But I remember a couple of guys in them big boats talked to me when I was in my little boats. I thought, man, that was so nice and so special. And so how we make contact with people, how we leave that contact with people, how you know, what we do for the kids that are in the parking lots at the tournament weigh-ins and how we treat them and all that. They're watching us, how we conduct ourselves. And you know, I remember I told this story a lot of times, but I was at the Red River this year for the elites, and there was some crowd building coming up along through there, and a lady and her 3 kids came up to my boat, and the kids asked for my autograph, and I'm sitting there with not a fish in a live well. And I wanted to look at him and say, you know, I suck so bad today. I don't deserve to autograph your shirt. But I spun around, grabbed a marker, signed them kids' shirts, took some of my tackle from my sponsors and gave to them. And all they're going to walk away remembering there is that this really cool guy signed our shirts, gave us some free tackle, and they were able to get, you know, be able to fish one day later with that tackle. They never once asked me how I did in the tournament, how many fish I had in the live well. It didn't matter at that time with those kids. So just take the time to be nice, to be kind, love one another, be an example of God when you come in contact with people. If we're professional, kind, considerate, loving, encouraging, supporting, the sport of crappie fishing will absolutely grow. Guys, thanks for watching this video. You want to see more content coming in the future, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the like button. I appreciate you guys. Have a wonderful day. Can't wait to see you the next time.